Green and amp, rustic meets shabby chic, budget-friendly cottage DIY decor for a vintage-inspired home. Hi there, and welcome back to Vintage and Rustic, the channel where we take time to slow down, soak in the charm of days gone by, and find creative ways to bring beauty into every nook and cranny of our homes. I'm David, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, I want to take you on a journey that blends the lush, grounded warmth of rustic charm with the soft, delicate elegance of shabby chic, two timeless styles that harmonize in the most beautiful way. If you've ever dreamed of transforming your cottage, tiny home, or even just a single cozy room into a vintage-inspired haven, you're in the right place. We're diving deep into DIY decor ideas that are easy on the budget and high on character. These are the kinds of projects where weathered wood meets pastel florals, and where green patinas dance gently against time-worn whites. Whether it's adding a rustic window frame with a chippy finish, layering cozy linen throws, or creating handmade clay pots for your indoor herb garden, we'll explore how to make your space speak in the language of comfort and charm. You don't need a massive budget or a fancy shopping list, just a little creativity, a love for history, and an appreciation for beauty in the imperfect. Let's start in the heart of the home, the kitchen. Nothing brings together rustic and shabby chic like open shelving crafted from reclaimed barn wood. Pair it with antique white ceramics, chipped enamel pitchers, and soft mint green glass jars for a color palette that whispers serenity. You might find an old ladder at a flea market, hang it from the ceiling, string it with dried flowers and vintage kitchen utensils, and you've created a centerpiece full of storytelling charm. Paint old cabinets in soft hues like faded sage or dusty rose, then lightly distress the edges for that perfect time-worn look. Even vintage lace curtains or a table runner made from old linens can transform the space into a scene straight out of a storybook. Incorporating plants like ivy or rosemary in distressed terracotta pots not only adds life but brings that beautiful rustic green energy into your space. Every element you choose, from wire baskets and floral Moving into the living room, this is where textures take center stage. Think of worn leather armchairs, hand-knitted throws, chunky wool pillows, and distressed wooden coffee tables layered with books that have yellowed with age. The idea is to create a space that feels like it's been gently lived in for decades, one that invites you to curl up with a warm cup of tea and a handmade quilt. Mix in touches of nature, dried eucalyptus branches, driftwood sculptures, or old watering cans repurposed as flower vases. Greenery is such a powerful tool in rustic and shabby chic spaces. It connects the indoors to the peacefulness of the outdoors. Mirrors with chipped paint frames can open up smaller rooms while also bouncing soft light around the space. And don't underestimate the magic of candles, especially when nestled in vintage candle holders or old jam jars wrapped with lace. These little touches give your living room not just beauty, but soul. The bedroom might be the most rewarding space to blend these two styles. Start with a vintage iron bed frame. Whether it's white and weathered or painted in muted greens, it becomes the focal point of the room. Layer it with ruffled bedding in faded florals, crocheted pillowcases, and maybe a handmade patchwork quilt. On the walls, you can hang old picture frames with no glass or backs, just empty frames in varying shades of off-white and pastel green to add depth and interest. Hang dried lavender or small wreaths of preserved eucalyptus for a delicate botanical touch. Soft, ambient lighting is key. Consider using antique lamps with fabric shades or fairy lights draped across a headboard. Repurpose an old dresser by sanding and painting it in pale sage, then replace the knobs with porcelain or crystal ones for that perfect shabby chic touch. Incorporating vintage finds, an old trunk at the foot of the bed, a lace doily on the nightstand, or even a stack of old books tied with twine. So now, as we stand back and admire the blend of rustic textures, shabby chic softness, and green tones throughout the home, it's clear that creating a cozy, vintage-inspired haven doesn't require a designer's budget. It simply asks for heart. When you craft your home this way, piece by piece, detail by detail, you're not just decorating, you're telling your story. You're honoring craftsmanship, nature, and nostalgia in every shelf you hang, every lamp you light, and every bouquet you arrange in an old teacup. These spaces aren't meant to impress, they're meant to embrace. And that's the real magic. Whether it's a handmade table runner or a flea market treasure, each choice you make adds a little more soul to your sanctuary. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope this journey through green rustic charm and shabby chic coziness has sparked a few ideas for your own space. If you've enjoyed this, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Vintage and Rustic, and leave a comment sharing your favorite budget-friendly DIY trick. I'd love to hear about the unique touches you've added to your own home. Until next time, keep creating with heart, and remember, it's the little things that make a house a home. I'm David, and I'll see you again.
Thank you.